In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
Then San Siro shook once again to its foundations, and there was just a huge "Chi non salta rossonero è," which is a very common Italian football chant. You can adapt it to any team, but in this case, it's whoever's not jumping is a rossonero, is a Milan fan. And it really was the whole stadium going. And I was thinking to myself, I always think I never want San Siro to go away. I don't want it ever to come down because I love it so much. But if everyone keeps jumping, maybe it is going to come down at this point. The game itself tonight, let's talk about it quickly. I'm not going to do you an hour of analysis on the game, firstly because I need to go to bed, but also because I don't even know if there's an hour of analysis, even if you had the will to have with this game. Milan in the end weren't very good. I think the gap in quality between these two teams has really told over these two legs, and perhaps we were naive not to expect it before the tie began. That there is a gap between these teams at the moment. At least it feels like much bigger than the points between them in the Serie table, which is only, 5 points between them in the Serie table. It feels a lot bigger than that, the gulf between them at the moment, having seen these two games. Inter was a bit of a strange first half, I would say. They were, I suppose, caught in that slightly sort of odd position between, do you guard the 2-0 lead from the first leg? Do you push on for something? And there were a couple of times where I felt like they just fell into that trap, which Simone Inzaghi's teams do sometimes, of getting a bit too long and not being compact. And really there was just the one chance for Brahim Diaz, which of course was on his wrong foot, but which Sandro Tonali worked so hard to create for him. Tonali, who in the first half was really eye-catchingly driving Milan forwards, gets that pullback to him, and yeah, that was the chance, wasn't it? Diaz should score. It is on his weaker foot, but he should score. And if he scores, perhaps, this is all that Milan have really to hold on to, is these maybes. Because actually after that, nothing happened. Really, there was no follow-up. There was no further opportunity, and that was because Milan didn't have a plan to break Inter down. We got to the 70th minute of this game, and I was up in the stands. I looked up at the scoreboard, and it just happened to be showing at that moment because it has like a rotating display. Not as in physically rotating, but the information on the display changes through the game on the big screen. And at that moment, it happened to say saves, one for Inter and one for Milan. And you think, well, it's just fine, isn't it, for Inter at 0-0 if the game is a not particularly exciting one, but neither keeper's making any saves. If neither keeper's making any saves, they're not facing any shots. And if they're not facing any shots, then Inter are going through. And that was how it felt. We wondered after the first leg, when Milan looked quite toothless, what they could do to change that. The hope was obviously that Rafael Leao would come back, and his pace, his ability to run and be direct would give them that profondità, that ability to get in behind that they'd be missing. And that wasn't the magic formula. Him being there didn't suddenly fix everything. And in reality, I don't even know what to say about that, because was this because actually Leao missing was never the problem, and the problem's bigger than that? Or was it just that even once he was back here, that Leao was playing almost certainly below his best because he's still carrying a thigh strain, which he hasn't had much time to recover from? I think it was really wishful thinking that he could be at his magnificent best, and he wasn't. So there was still none of that. There was still no penetration from Milan. There was no savvy about how to get behind an Inter team who, to be fair, and quite reasonably, were increasingly able just to fall back to quite deep positions. I think one of the sort of accompanying great sort of subplots to this tie for me. And I did talk about this with
Become a member at patreon.com/Serie Chronicles for regular bonus episodes and content.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.